Hey there guys, welcome back to my Android tutorial series, and in this tutorial what I will tell you about is the static broadcast receivers. In my previous video I have given you the introduction to the broadcast receivers, and I have covered one type of the broadcast receivers, that is dynamic broadcast receivers. And in that video I have told you that dynamic broadcast receivers are something that make your application listen to certain states once that application is running. Until and unless your application is running, it will be listening to that particular action or receiver or whatsoever. But once your application is closed, your application is now more listening to those receivers, those actions. But what if you want to make your application listen to those actions and receivers even if your application is closed? Then in there comes another type of the broadcast receivers, and they are static broadcast receivers. So static broadcast receivers are something that make your application listen to some particular events even if your application is not running on your phone. So one most common example you can see in your everyday life are those notifications, that push notifications that arises on your phone window. So that is particularly the state in which your phone is your applications are continuously listening to the receivers out there, and once some notifications are coming from the server, they show you the push notification even if the application is not running. So this may be the example of a static broadcast receivers. But one thing I have to mention here, that Android does not recommend you to use static broadcast receivers. Instead they have provided you another technique, and that technique is Firebase job dispatcher. That is, you have to schedule some jobs to achieve those particular task even if your application is not running. So this is something that I am gonna covering in my next video. But in this video I will tell you about static broadcast receivers, because there may be some cases in which you have to use static broadcast receivers, and you do not have to use the Firebase job dispatcher, which I have mentioned shortly. So let's get started. First and first, what I will do in this application now, that I will make my application listen to the Wi-Fi state change of my phone. That is, whenever the user on or off the on or off the Wi-Fi of the phone, my application will be listening to this state, and will perform the action whatsoever even if the application is not running. So first of all, let's make the inner static class that will extend from the broadcast receiver. Let's name this class as a start application, because this is the task that will be performing by this activity. So it will extends from broadcast receiver, and of course I have to override one method from here on receive method. Now this will be the case where I have to perform whatever thing I want to do with my phone. So first of all, again will be using switch case, as I have mentioned in my previous video, and in here the switch will be get action, and my cases will be android.net Wi-Fi dot state changed. So this is the action that my application is listening to, and whenever the Wi-Fi state is changed, my application will perform the specific task for the most part. So what I will do is display some toast message that will be saying that welcome. The context will be the context passed from this argument, so context, and my message will be, let's say, welcome, and its length, I guess short length is enough, and I will make it visible on the screen by dot show method. Next, I will start of course I will start my activity, and for that purpose I will use the old parcel that I have mentioned in my previous lectures, and that is intent is equals to new intent, and in here I will pass the context and the class that I want to start. So in this case, of course, only one activity is there, so I will start main activity dot class, and of course I have to change this variable because intent is already defined in this scope. So intent2 is equals to new intent, and then I will set one flag here. What this flag will do is that it will start my activity, because since for starting activity you must need a context from the application side. So since my application will gonna be start on the system call, so I have to add a flag here, and that flag will be flag activity new task. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now what I will do again, start activity, and for that purpose I will use context dot start activity, and I will pass in the argument intent to. So this will start my activity. Now I will not register or unregister the receiver as I have done in my previous video, because that case was specifically for the dynamic broadcast. What I will do for static broadcast is that I will open my Android manifest file, and you will find that file in your app package in your manifests folder, and that Android manifest file. And what you will do is open the tag for the receiver and close that tag for it, and you have to name the class, the static broadcast receiver class that you have made in your main activity. So when you press a period sign, Android will give you suggestions on that. Since I have only one broadcast receiver class, so I will press enter on it. Maybe you have a couple of classes, so you have to choose which class you want to add here. And in between the opening and closing tag of receiver, I will add intent filter, and in that filter I will add the actions that that I want to make my activity listen to. So in that case, Android name, and that action will be similar as that case I have mentioned here. So let's just copy and paste it, and yes, I have done. So far what I have done, simple one application. I have created one application with one activity, and I have created in one static public class start application that is extending from the broadcast receiver. I have mentioned the case in here that which system intent my application should be listening to. So I have chosen the Wi-Fi state change, that whenever the state of the Wi-Fi is changed, my application will be started, and then I have registered that static broadcast in my Android manifest file in the receivers tag and intent filter, and in between the receiver opening and closing tag I have mentioned the action that my application is listening to. So this is what my application looks like. Now let's test this application. I will again use my phone for testing purposes. So let's run it, and I will pause here. Okay, so I have my application learning, but before that I want to mention one thing that I have used here is state underscore changed. State underscore change is not any action that is recognized by the Android device, so you have to use state change instead of changed. You have to use change. So change is the correct action. Okay, so let's run this application, and the application is installing in my phone. So I have to wait for some time. And yeah, I have my application running. So what I will do, I will close this application, and after closing this application I will change the state of my Wi-Fi. So how will I change the state of my Wi-Fi? I will close this Wi-Fi, and when I have closed my Wi-Fi, you can see that the application is running in the background telling me welcome. So I hope that you have got the concept, and you have enjoyed this tutorial. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and for more exciting tutorial. Till then, take care.